Eating a higher protein breakfast is one of the easiest ways to shut off hunger, reduce cravings, and help make significant progress toward a weight loss or wellness goal. The problem is most breakfasts are notoriously so low in protein. And then the other problem is a lot of people are just getting tired of eggs. Eggs are kind of like the staple breakfast item, and they're great. They're really nutrient dense. Honestly, they're essentially like a multivitamin. But if you hate what you're eating, or if you're tired of what you're eating, you're not going to eat it, and therefore you're not going to get the benefits of the higher protein meal. So today I'm sharing 9 different delicious high protein breakfast ideas that aren't eggs. I'll also have a blog post linked down in the description below with all the recipes if you guys want to dive a little bit further into that. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Gem. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first is an almond butter blueberry protein smoothie. Now, if you guys have followed my channel for a while, you know that I'm like the smoothie queen. I love how you can just pack so much nutrients in there and make it a complete meal. It's fast, it's easy, and it's super delicious. However, most people are not making smoothies the right way. They typically are using a lot of fruit juices or just a lot of high sugar fruit in general and not adding in nearly enough protein to actually make it a meal. So with all of my smoothies, I make sure to focus on protein, fat, and fiber, with protein obviously being the feature and the star. The easiest way to add protein into any type of smoothie is to use Greek yogurt, skyr, or protein powder, or you could use a combination of each of these. This almond butter and blueberry smoothie recipe of mine uses primarily protein powder, although you could use Greek yogurt or skyr instead. Now, it also uses almond butter as a high quality source of fat, but don't make the mistake of thinking almond butter is going to provide you a good source of protein. Almond butter does technically contain some protein, but it is such a poor quality protein that it really can't even be considered a protein. That's why this recipe adds in protein powder to help make up that difference. It also uses high quality sources of fat like flax seeds, chia seeds, and Brazil nuts to make sure that you're full and satisfied for about 4 hours, which again, you can find this recipe and all the other recipes linked in the description down below. Okay, next up, if you're a fan of oatmeal, but you found that actually oatmeal contains like 0 protein, and it also tends to spike your blood sugar level, and maybe it makes you feel really hungry pretty soon, then having a grain-free oatmeal instead might be your answer. I have a pumpkin spice grain-free oatmeal recipe that takes very minimal time to make, is loaded with protein, fat, and fiber, and just tastes so good. Instead of using oats, which again doesn't really have protein, and the protein that it does have is very, very low quality, it uses a base of almond flour, various seeds that are very rich in fiber and fats to help keep you satisfied, and then from there, to provide the protein as well as a delicious creaminess, you add in yogurt and maybe some protein powder as well. This is just like a fan favorite of the entire community. Okay, next up is the detox chia pudding. Now, chia pudding is kind of another alternative to oatmeal, and what's great is you can batch it out and have it for the entire week. It also takes literally minutes to make a full week's worth of meals. The problem is a lot of people just do chia pudding wrong. They might just make it with like almond milk and some chia seeds and some sweetener, and that's it. Maybe put some like berries and granola on top, which, as you might have noticed, none of these ingredients actually have protein. So of course you're going to be hungry really quickly. Now, as you probably might have guessed, this recipe does use, again, that combination of Greek yogurt or skyr, which is kind of similar to Greek yogurt, but actually even higher in protein, and some protein powder to give it a little hint of sweetness without any sugar and a lot more protein. Now, before we move on to the next one, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Gem. In fact, I'm literally going to take it right now because it tastes so good and I'm salivating. Now, I actually just finished my first meal or my breakfast, and I prefer to take Gem with my first meal, which is why I was just taking it. But this is called the Gem Bite Daily Multi, and it's a whole food-based multivitamin supplement. Now, I'm typically not a fan of most multivitamins because they have such low quality ingredients or fillers, or just they're not in their most bioavailable form. I was super impressed by Gem being able to cover so many nutritional bases while still using whole food ingredients. Gem believes in eating vitamins the way that they are actually intended. Each of the Gem Bite Daily Multis are packed with over 20 whole food vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and prebiotics to help fill the gaps in daily nutrition. I personally didn't really take multivitamin before Gem because others are such low quality, but I love now using Gem because honestly it just tastes so dang good. I literally look forward to taking it each day. I personally take 1 per day. I've been taking it for about 5 months now. It's slightly tangy, slightly sweet, and really chewy and delicious. My mouth is still salivating from that bite I just took, but it also uses whole food ingredients to get their nutrients from, like fermented chickpeas for vitamin K2, quinoa sprouts for B vitamins, and vitamin D3 from algae. Gem uses this whole food approach to health and use ingredients that work best together so that they're best absorbed in our body. And Gem is offering my community 50% off your first month. So if you're looking to include a whole food based multivitamin to help fill those gaps, make sure to head over to dailygem.com/autumnbates and use my code autumnbates at checkout to receive 50% off your first month. I'll also have the link down description below. Now back to the next meal. Okay, now speaking of smoothies earlier, this next one is a peanut butter protein smoothie. Now if you're a fan of peanut butter, butter, then you're going to love this one. But something important to note is that it does contain peanut butter, but peanut butter is actually not a great source of protein. Yes, technically speaking, if you look at the nutrition facts label, you'll see it is fairly high in protein. However, just like almonds, that protein quality is so low, it's just not absorbed in the same way as protein, and it's incomplete. So we're using peanut butter in this recipe not as a source of protein, but actually as a source of fat, because we do need fat along with protein to help keep us satisfied and help to prevent hunger and sugar cravings. Now, this one I actually did share a video on, so I'll have it linked right up here if you want to check that out. Okay, next we have a cottage cheese bowl with berries. Cottage cheese is crazy high in protein. Just 1¼ cup will give you about 30 grams of complete protein, which is highly significant, especially considering protein from dairy is very high quality protein. I like to combine cottage cheese with sauteed blueberries. Oh, so good. This is another one I have a video on because my community loves this recipe. I'll have it linked right up here if you want to check that out as well. Okay, next up are chocolate chip protein waffles. Now, this recipe does include an egg in the ingredients, but it's not like you really taste it or know it's there. So unlike typical grain-based waffles, this one is actually made from a base of a little bit of banana, eggs, and protein powder. However, if you want to bump up the protein even further and make the texture a little bit lighter, you can actually swap out the banana and instead use about 1/4 cup of cottage cheese. I also like to sprinkle in some zero sugar chocolate chips. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've been having this like every day for months. Okay, next up, a Skyr yogurt bowl with granola. Now, I mentioned Skyr earlier, but Skyr is similar to Greek yogurt in the sense that it is a strained yogurt to make it really high in protein, but it's actually even higher in protein than Greek yogurt. Just to compare, if you're to try and get 30 grams of protein from Greek yogurt, you need about 1½ cups. If you want it from Skyr, you need about 1¼ cups, depending on the brand. I also like to top this with my zero sugar granola recipes, which I have quite a few different ones. I've shared one of them on YouTube before, but you can just make a really simple granola by using toasted coconut flakes, your favorite nuts and seeds, and then a little bit of cinnamon, maybe a pinch of salt. Toss that all together, put it on the Skyr yogurt bowl, and it's good to go. Okay, next up we have one of my green smoothie recipes. This one obviously still has the protein in there with Skyr and protein powder, but it also has some additional ingredients to make it even more of a nutritional powerhouse, and it tastes even better. Uses a bit of pineapple for the sweetness, also for vitamin C content, frozen spinach, a lemon. This is like the absolute game changer. You zest and juice the lemon in there. Oh my gosh. So refreshing. And some ginger. I like to use fresh ginger, although you could use just powdered ginger as well if you're in a pinch, but this adds such a delicious, refreshing level. Plus, ginger is an amazing tool for gut health. It really helps stimulate the migrating motor complex, which helps to flush out left behind bacteria and food in our GI tract that normally causes bloating. Okay, and then we have chocolate chip protein pancakes. Now, this is actually the exact same recipe as the waffles, but you can just make it in pancake form. I feel like there's kind of team pancake, team waffle. I love both, honestly, but there definitely are two different camps. It uses that same base of protein powder, banana, and egg, although again, you could swap out the banana for cottage cheese. Another amazing high protein alternative to traditional grain and sugar based pancakes. Now, you probably noticed cottage cheese pops up a lot in these, and that's because cottage cheese is a great source of protein and it's fairly accessible. You can pretty much find it at any grocery store. I can't think of any type of grocery store you couldn't find it at. But if you're wondering different ways that you could use cottage cheese, make sure you check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.